Everyone, so happy to be doing these kind of bonus yoga classes. So as the description implied, this is a little different than the regular Poga class that we do, which is more like a vinyasa flow. We're moving around exercises and it's kind of flowing through the different yoga postures. And this particular class is a slow flow with elements of yin yoga. And yin, and so if you think about like yin and yang or yin and yang, however you want to pronounce it, the yang element of our asana practice is what builds heat, right? So the yang is like action and planking and the warriors and putting in a lot of effort and a lot of like musculature effort into our practice. Whereas the yin represents the cool side. So, right, we have like this heat element of the sun, and then we have yin, which is the cool side. It is the moon side, and this is where we actually are taking effort away. Now that gives us the impression that things will be easy within a yin class, and that is not true because we are going to be bringing ourselves into physical postures that are going to be really challenging for us because they're going to evoke a deep stretch sensation. So a big part of yin is the mental part and the ability to tolerate and to trust that things will pass, right? Which are all incredibly important mindset elements for a competitor, for an athlete to have. Because we have to be able to enter into these experiences of deep discomfort, trusting that there's a reward on the other side. And so this is definitely going to be testing that for us. So we're going to start nice and slow and easy. And I'll show you this posture. So just stay upright. And then once you get a feel for it, you can come down. It's just a little confusing to describe. It's a lot of like rights and lefts. So once you come down into just lying down, you're going to take your right foot over to the right side of the mat. And you're going to cross your ankle, left ankle over. And then you're going to lift yourselves up with your elbows. You're going to scooch your right shoulder to the right side of the mat and come in. This is called banana, which you can kind of see why, because you're going to end up looking like a banana that's just laid on its side. Okay? So taking yourself down, right foot moves a little to the right, crossing the left foot over the right ankle. And then scoot your right shoulder to the right side of the mat and bring your arms like you're reaching towards the cement wall. Good. And then you want to release effort. So you don't want to hold yourself here, right? You want to do the minimal amount of effort to be in this position. And that's a balance. That's a balance. So here we are in banana. We'll spend about 60 seconds on each side. So you're doing your best to keep both your butt cheeks down, both of your shoulder blades down, and bringing in this length through the left side of the body. Sealing the lips, breathing in and out through your nose with a soft jaw, relaxed face. Deepening your inhales and exhales. You really come to learn how the breath is a major facilitator of this kind of practice. The inhale, breathing in spaciousness, and the exhales, allowing us to deepen our experience of the posture. We'll bring arms back by our sides, pressing into the elbows to scooch the upper body back to center, uncross the legs, and then we'll do second side. So left foot moves a little to the left, not a lot. Cross the right foot over the left ankle, scooch yourself a little, upper body a little to the left, not a lot. And then arms come over the head. Grip your right wrist with your left hand. Grip your right wrist with your left hand to help you kind of anchor yourself into this arched kind of bend position. Yeah, and then once you find that physical posture, feel the stillness, commit to the stillness here and focus on the breath. Feel the belly rising and falling, kind of mimicking the breath that like a newborn baby would be taking, right? They really fill their whole torsos. There's this beautiful, easy, expanding, contracting, very natural. So center, arms come down, shoulders come center, uncross the legs, and then give your knees a hug in. Bringing knees a little bit wide outside of the rib cage. Bring hands behind the hamstring. You're going to rock yourself into a seated position, maybe a few rocks, and then coming up. And we'll come into butterfly next. So feet are together. You might find that even just being here is a deep stretch for you. If you are here, but you want a little bit more intensity, start to bend forward at the hips. Good. There's some anchoring happening, so we're not completely passive here. We've got some anchoring, hands to feet. Committing to a posture and then finding the stillness there and committing to that stillness. Checking in with the breath, smooth, open. Seeing how the posture is evolving, the sensations are shifting and changing. Not necessarily getting easier, but just changing. Pressing up slowly, using your hands if you come forward, finding that upright position, using helping hands to bring the knees back together. Very good. Then bring the feet really wide, put your hands behind you, and then bring yourself into onto the right side. So adjust yourself so we've got this 90-degree angle in both of the legs. Imagining that there's like a little anchor on the inside of this knee and it's slowly allowing that inside of the knee to come down. If you already have a lot of internal hip rotation, this will come relatively naturally to you. But for those of us that don't, might be a challenge. You can relax your ankles and your feet. Best to be present with the sensations that are arising, not pushing them away or judging them. Nice and slow, coming back to center, easy does it. And we'll change sides. You might be noticing that there's a difference from side to side. One knee is kind of happy to go down side and not so much on the other. Yeah, we're not pressing the knee down. We're simply being really effortless here, right? We're not putting a lot of effort into this. We're just allowing gravity to do its thing, allowing the muscles to work it out. Notice if there's any gripping or tightening happening somewhere in like the jaw or your belly. See if you can soften that. Slowly back to center. Yeah, really nice. Bring the legs out front. So we'll be coming into a forward fold. For many reasons, you might find that the forward fold with a little bit more of a V shape works better for you. So please take that on if you'd like. From this position, there's a few ways that we can do this. So bending the knees slightly will allow for a little bit more of a forward fold position. I like to start here with a bend in the knees, and then slowly, because we're going to be here for 2 minutes, maybe over time, you start to drop the inside of the knees down. But starting with a little bend in the knees, letting the head be really heavy. Yeah. Same teeth are separated, top and bottom. If you've got the knees bent like I do, maybe scooting out the heels a little bit, you know, to just notice it's going to be really different for everyone. Imagining that with every exhalation that you're able to soften into the posture even more. Noticing the mental reaction to the sensation, maybe that you have a very deep desire to come out of the posture. That's okay. That's really normal if you're feeling that. That's be kind of weird if you didn't feel that way. When we're training the body and the mind, right, this is a kind of discipline. When we're doing it with love, we're trying to build trust, right? That we're safe, everything's okay. 20 seconds left. Maybe letting the head go a little bit more. Relaxing wrists, hands, ankles, feet, and toes. Using helping hands to bring yourself into an upright posture. Nice. We're going to swing the legs around, coming onto our bellies. We have 2 options here. We have Sphinx, where the elbows are a little bit out in front of the shoulders, so they're not directly stacked underneath. A little bit further out. From here, you can let the shoulders shrug, and you can let the head hang. If this feels like a little, like if your low back does not like this, then you can come to crocodile, which is just a stacking, just allowing the forehead to rest. It's a little milder back bend. There's still a back bend there, it's just very mild. Okay. So we are allowed to kind of hang on the joints here. In this case, we're hanging into the shoulder joint. Feeling the belly pressing into the mat with every inhalation. Relax your legs and your glutes. The ankles a little shake, a little rock, and then letting loose. Putting ourselves into a tabletop position, so walking the elbows back towards the body and bringing yourself slowly up into table. Very nice. Walking the knees out wide, toes are together. Sit yourself into a child's pose, resting the forehead down, and then bring the arms by your side. Like the shoulders roll forward and down, shoulder blades sliding up the spine. With every exhalation, softening even more. Perhaps the arms really kind of just walk down, noticing if you're kind of holding them in a position, see if you can release that hold. Doing your best to make yourself this kind of dead weight.
Sounds like Serena Williams plays on acting.
I want to look out there so bad and be like, what the heck are they doing out there?
Standing there taunting us.
Bring one up, bring one, and then the other arm over the head. We're gonna lift ourselves back into our tabletop position. We'll come into melting heart, also known as puppy pose. So just watch me go before you go, just like, it's a little hard to see if you come down. So there's two options here. So walking down to the elbows from your tabletop position and starting to walk the knees back until the arms are straight. And then the knees are underneath the hips. So let's all meet there first. And it's like a little weird, like your face is definitely like slightly smashed into your mat. That's kind of just how it is. Try to keep that on your forehead and not your nose. Okay, once we're in our puppy, you might want a little bit more or just try it out. Pressing the palms together, bend your elbows, bring your thumbs to the back of your neck. That's just going to give you a deeper stretch through the hamstrings, or excuse me, through the triceps. Inviting in deep breath, soft and spacious. Bring the elbows, palms down, walk your knees towards your elbows, we're going back into our table. Very nice. And then for this one, we're going to have to come perpendicular to the mat. So everyone's gonna have to scoot around so that we're this way. But you can watch what I'm gonna do first. You'll see why this is important because we're gonna be coming into frog. So important thing here is that my feet, you'll see my ankles are externally rotated for frog. You might have like dogs that like lie down like this. One of my dogs lies like this. And you're gonna slowly widen out your knees and your heels are gonna be following you. So my heels are right behind my knees. And then from there, coming down to elbows. And then once we're down here, we're just gonna do some rocks back and forth. So you're gonna need to turn, because you don't want not to have your knees not on your mat. It really will hurt your knees. That already, sorry for you. I would grab a squishy mat. They're right to your left. Because I feel like this is gonna hurt your knee. Yeah, it's already kind of hurts. Michelle, you too. Will you grab one for Michelle also? Thank you.
Supposed kills me. Flexible.
Oh, nice. Oh, little froggies.
We're two minutes.
Yeah, there you go. She's like, what was that? The Princess and the Pea? All right, so once we're in our frog position, just a little, very slow, gentle rocking the hips forward and back. We've got, about a minute, 15 seconds in this posture. The nice thing about yin yoga and holding the stretches for so long is because given enough time, your muscles will start to relax. But you really have to, but sometimes it's like 4 minutes, which seems like forever. But I've been to yin classes where we hold postures for like 4 minutes. And it's amazing because you're like, oh my God, there's no way. But over time, you will start to relax into it. It's really pretty remarkable, and it can have a very powerful emotional effect and mental effect to really let go, because we hold a lot of our emotions in our bodies, right? So when we're able to have a big release physically, it can actually work as an emotional release as well. Good. So you can, if you would like, we've got about 20 seconds. I would say if you're rocking, just find stillness. Doing your best to breathe softly, right? Our breath tells our mind like how we're doing, right? So if we're holding our breath, the mind thinks, uh-oh, something's wrong. And so we want to keep that breath. Okay, coming out of this is very important to do this a certain way, okay? So first things first, you're gonna bring your big toes together. Bring your big toes towards each other. Yes, and then push into your right elbow and move your right knee in towards the midline, then push through your left elbow, move your left elbow in, or knee in, there we go. Now you're gonna tuck the toes under and sit your hips to your heels. Stretch. Yeah. Ah, ow. My big toes. Anyone else's big toes so tight?
Yes.
Yeah, mine. She can't talk. She's experiencing too much toe stretch.
One side, it's like.
Yeah. Then very well. Surgery. Well, that's to be expected. About 20 seconds remaining on this side. That's why I keep looking at my phone for the record, is I'm just trying to keep track of time. Pat, I've never seen that face on you. You're like, how's your
I
toes?
don't know, something's gonna break.
Someone's gonna snap.
Impressive, I'm just at the bone muscle limit.
A good information to have. Nice, and then sit down with your toes unflexed. That's nice. Okay, you can flip back around. So next, again, this is another one where I'd like you to watch me get here first because it's a little weird and it's hard to explain. So the next one will be back onto our tummies. And this is a big stretch for the front shoulder and pec. So my left arm is gonna go out to the side, palm facing down. My right hand is under my shoulder, so check out what's gonna happen here. I'm gonna start to push myself off of the ground. And like, first of all, you might get here and that's fine. You're like, that's good, thank you. But if you like to go further, you're gonna take your top foot and you're gonna plant it behind you, okay? And then I like to kind of like use a fist to put my head down on, because otherwise your head is just kind of hanging and I don't like that. So I do this, okay? So let's all do that together. So we're gonna start lying down. The left arm is gonna come out, palm facing down, shoulder height. Left arm out, palm facing down, shoulder height. Right hand under the front of the right shoulder. Good. Start to push into the right hand. Good. So now, very good. And then plant your right foot behind you. So you're gonna plant your right foot on the ground behind you. Nice. And then you can take your right hand, make it into a fist, and then you can just kind of use it. Ah, that's nice. So the right hip is kind of like, almost like you're trying to get your right butt cheek down to the mat, which is not going to happen. Good. So we've got this big stretch in the front shoulder, hopefully. And then just commit to being still here. We've got about 30 seconds remaining. We change side. So you're gonna relax your right glute a little bit and your leg. Yeah, that left leg, right glute. Taking in a deep breath in through the nose, out through the nose. Right hand comes down to the mat, slowly we come down. Very nice, second side, so right arm out, palm down, left hand under the left shoulder, start to push yourself off of the floor. Left foot finds the floor behind. Up on your jaw, make sure your teeth are separated. Planting the left hand, slowly roll back onto the tummy. Very nice, both hands come underneath the shoulders, and we'll press ourselves up into a seated posture. Cool. Was that a new one for anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
You might have done that in a firework.
Yeah, we could have, yeah, as a stretch, yes, that could have happened. Okay, so I have a lot of variations for hip openers tonight. The first one is fire log, and I'll just show it to you, and if it's something where you're like, that's just not gonna happen for me, that's okay. I have many, many options for you. So we'll start with I'm just mirroring you, so just listen to my words here. So your left leg is gonna be forward. You can see that it's kind of out away from me, right? And then, so this is the position of what's gonna be the bottom leg. And then the top leg I'm gonna grab onto. I'm gonna place my foot on on the top. So the important thing is that this bottom foot is away from you.
Yeah.
So it's not even close.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And then that's what makes it so difficult. And then this is gonna come on top. Now, this is just like not gonna happen, that's okay. This is the same, very similar stretch, okay? Very similar stretch. So please feel free to go here, and that's totally fine.
Feel this out here?
Yes.
Okay.
So primarily it'll be whatever the top leg is, it'll primarily be the outside of that hip, but you're gonna feel it both ways. And then our job is to, you look a little worried, Michelle. She looks concerned. So it's funny, I talk about this in my yoga class now, which is like the yoga poker face, which is a real thing. And it's talked about not just in asana practice, but also in meditative practices as well. Or if you imagine, that's not it.
You get opposite of the face I had 2 minutes ago, you're like, what the heck is that?
But they talk about this a lot, which is like when you think about in meditation, we oftentimes will tell people just like we call it just like a whisper of a smile. It's also called the Buddha smile. If you ever seen the statues of the Buddha, he's a little bit like this, you know. So and we do that for a reason, right? Because the whole system is connected, right? So what do we have control over? I don't have control over loosening my hips right now. My hips are not feeling loose. I don't really have control over that, but I do have control over my face, my breath, my shoulders, right? And as we move through the system and see what can I soften? What is it possible for me to soften here? That will eventually lead to the hips over time. It'll eventually lead into the hips. So just noticing that the ankle can be a little softer, toe. Okay, let's slowly wind ourselves using helping hands is helpful. And we'll change sides. So whatever foot was on the bottom is going to be top. Whatever was top is going to be bottom. That's good. I can't see Caroline. I can only hear you.
It's the two sides are not the same.
Yeah, we got some asymmetry happening here. Yeah, and it's called fire log because it's like these lower legs are sort of stacked. And that's why it's important for the bottom foot to be away from us a little bit. Not too far, but basically like kind of parallel to the top of the mat-ish. So we find the position, we commit to stillness. We commit to softening wherever is possible. Noticing the breath in the low belly, which is a sign to the nervous system that everything is okay, we're safe. Have a visual of the inhalation gathering up tension and discord, dis-ease within the body, and the exhale, releasing it out, allowing you to go a little bit deeper. In yin yoga, we call this moving through these layers of experience. If we give it time, our experience will shift and evolve and change. We have to have patience and a commitment to it, determination to it. Using helping hands to unwind. Very nice. Bring the legs out long, a little shake, shake, shake. Great. Cool. So we're gonna be in this V position, and then the right leg is gonna come in, and we're gonna orient ourselves towards the left foot. So that means the shoulders are gonna square towards the foot. Again, a great way to start this fold is to start with a bent knee. Okay, we're gonna be here. Yeah, we've got the time. We're gonna be here for a full minute. So starting with the bent knee, bringing in as much softness as you can, and then I'll give you like the halfway point, and maybe at that point you start to bring a little bit more straightness into the knee. Maybe it's just a millimeter, right? That's okay. Breathing deeply enough that your upper body is lifting, rising and falling with each breath. That's how much you're expanding. About halfway through your stretch on the side. Noticing what it's like to really fully exhale, not leaving any air in on that exhale, really emptying out. Using your hands to walk your upper body into an upright position. Great. Then let's change sides. Orienting, spurring the shoulders towards that ankle, maybe starting with a little bend. To imagine really welcoming in the sensation as lovingly as possible, knowing that it's welcome because we invited it here by doing this stretch, right? By doing this stretch, we are inviting this sensation to us. So it's not really fair if it comes and then we're like, oh my God, I hate you. Like, why are you there, right? It's like, oh, here you are. Like, thank you, welcome. But like, this is, I mean, I say a lot of, loving words to the sensation, I say, oh, like, so happy you're here, I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but that mind-body connection is really powerful. You're about halfway through this stretch on this side. Just walk yourself to an upright position. Very nice. Bring the legs out, come a little sheep. Good, and come to lie down on our backs. Supine twist is next. So actually, before you come down, I just want to show you this from up here, because again, once we're all on our backs, it's really hard to explain. So in the supine twist, we're going to be starting in an upside down tabletop position. The knees are going to go to the right. So what the key is here is to then scooch the hips to the center of the mat. So what this means is that the back of your pelvis is perpendicular to the mat. And you're going to use your top hand to kind of anchor that thigh down, and then the left arm will reach out, okay? So that's going to be the order of events. So let's come on down, finding the upside down table, so the knees under over the hips, and then allow the knees to come all the way over to the right, and then press in with your elbow and your feet and scoot your hips back to the center of the mat. Yep, and then bring that 90 degrees back into the knees, in the hips. Yeah, good. And then the right hand is sort of anchoring down that top leg. If you don't feel like it's gonna flop out of the place, you don't have to anchor yourself, but for a lot of us, we're gonna need a little bit of support from the right hand. And then that left arm goes out, palm facing up, and you're gonna look over your left shoulder. Settling into the stillness, committing to it, and then finding the breath. Letting the mind rest on the breath. Slowly finding your way back to center. The hips will need to scooch to find that center of the mat, returning to table, and repeat on the second side. You could even put your right hand on your pelvis, like the back of your sacrum here, to just make sure that you've got it perpendicular, that the top and the hip is stacked right over the bottom, left over right. Really imagine these twists as like wringing out a towel, right? So we're just squeezing out the tension, any gripping. Slow transition back to center. Very nice. We're going to plant the feet about hip distance apart, and our final, before Shavasana, our final posture is going to be a bridge. So as you press into the feet, start to lift your hips. Arms are down by your side. Now, you might take the option to walk your upper arms towards each other. So you're kind of scooching your upper arms underneath yourself so that you're on a platform made by your upper arms. So you're scooching them
underneath you, underneath you, underneath you, so your shoulder blades are squeezed in as much as possible, and your upper arms are underneath your torso. If you've made it here, you might interlace your fingers and press your palms together. Yeah, you might try that, and pressing the hands down, so you're making contact, pinkies down into the mat. And then from here, press into your feet more and lift your hips even higher. Yeah, squeeze your knees together. Yeah, not to touch, but just make sure that the feet, that the knees are not flying outward. Very good, big squeeze, big squeeze. Release your grip, walk your upper arms out. Good, and then very slowly from top to bottom, lower the spine down. Once your sacrum touches, give your knees a hug in. And our final posture is coming up, a variation of Shavasana. So a few options for the legs. You can be in what's called butterfly legs, so back into our feet together, knees wide. You can also do feet wide, knees together. Or you can simply straighten your legs out, long and wide onto your mat. The arms will be up in cactus, so or like a goalpost kind of position, palms facing up. Yeah, we'll spend about 2 minutes here. So your challenge here is to do less. That's your challenge. Where might you be gripping or holding on that is unnecessary? With every exhale, soften more deeply. Allow yourself to be held and supported by the ground. You don't have to prop yourself up. Just let the earth do it for you. It's the belly, soft and expansive with each breath. Big stretch from fingertips to toe tips, straighten out the legs, reach the arms high over the head, making yourself as long as possible. And then hug the knees into the chest, rock all the way over onto the right side into the fetal position. So your right arm might even straighten up over your head so you can rest your ear on your bicep like a little pillow. Through the left hand, bringing yourself into a seated position. Take your time getting there. Just a moment to connect with the breath. You might even take your hands, put them on your belly.
Palms together, touch thumbs to the forehead. A wish for kind thoughts, thumbs to the lips. A wish for kind words and thumbs to the heart. An open and soft heart. And I end our class with shanti, shanti, shanti. It means peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much for coming to class tonight on our little yoga journey. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for those of you who joined from home. I feel like if we can feel relaxed with this going on, we're really doing something right. So there's I'll tell you.